and welcome to our weekly news magazine, Bhutan This Week, with me, Tony Selden. This week's top stories. A joint audit report revealed that top officials of PHPA 1 were on tour for more than 200 days during the fiscal year of 2012-13. School shoes made in Bhutan to hit the market next month. And frequent breakdown of the mini hydropower station of Tansipji Gyok in Tonsa irks the villagers there. Queen Mother Sringpem Wangchuk gave away the 8th Golden Youth Award to Karmachuki at YTF Center in Thimphu on Saturday. 16-year-old Karmachuki is a Class 10 student of Samtegan Central School in Wandipoda.
Karmachuki will now be able to pursue her higher studies abroad on Youth Development Fund scholarship.
This was something which I didn't expect at all, but I knew that I have some capacity and capability and I have the chance to win this. But through the competition, I could find that everybody was equally talented and the competition was really tough. But at last I could do it, and I feel I'm on the top of the world. Not good to stick on to what you can do and what you have, but it is very important that you expose what you really have, and I think everything is in us.
Certificates and medals were also awarded to the runners-up Yangchin Sringpenjo from Dr. Tobgil School, Tenzin Choki from Jakar Higher Secondary School, and Pranita Paudel from Yibilapsa Middle Secondary School. Winners of other categories such as Songkhak Youth Scientist, Songkhak Quiz Competition and Songkhak Debate Competition were also awarded certificates. About 80 students from across the country took part in the week-long camp at Najin Peri in Thimphu. Compiled for Sonam Sring, Tenzin Doji, PBS News.
The General Manager of Finance and Accounts Division and the Internal Auditor of the Royal Insurance Corporation of Bhutan have been suspended since 11th July last week. The suspensions are in connection with the recent embezzlement case of almost 92 million yutam by an employee of the company's branch in Iparo. Our reporter Sonam Chure got in touch with the company's CEO for further information on this.
So we have looked at some of these documents, and it was very clear that there was the misinformation to the committee by the finance department. There was so substantial amount of money lying in Paro branch, which they were supposed to bring back to the headquarters. They didn't do. And when you looked at the committee report they gave to us, they have not shown that BNB part, which substantial amount is there, but they have not brought this notice to us. So there was a clear indication that they were hiding from the. So because of that, we have to pull him up.
Yes, along with the team, one of the internal auditor has also been suspended.
So what happened was, this internal audit knew very well that this is a very sensitive case, and this guy, the internal audit and Mr. Rinchimadi, who absconded, were in discussion for a long time through telephones. Then there is also, he also confessed that he talked to him around 8:30 that evening on 18th of June, and then he already confessed that he has embezzled this money. And if a person has confessed now, isn't it his duty to report to the management firstly, then to his supervisor? Unfortunately, next day he reported to the supervisor at 11:30. There is a substantial amount of time for this guy to leave. And then by the time our colleagues acted, they went to Paro. By the time they reached there, this guy already left the country. He was absconding. So we feel that he has aided in making this guy run away. That's the first one. Secondly, he doesn't have the authority to talk to this guy. If the moment he finds something, it is his duty to report to the management and to his supervisor, which he has not done. So this clearly shows that this guy has failed us.
What do you have to say about maybe the higher-ups being held accountable equally as well?
Yes, I agree with that. But first, we have to see where the mistake is, where the lapses are. Without establishing the lapses, we cannot say that top has to rule. We have to make sure that where down the line has so much money has been siphoned off. Where did it go wrong? So we have to find out. I have no problem. I have already reported to the board that I'm morally responsible. If it's the board's call, if you feel that I have to leave the company, I have no problem. I have to. But I think that is not answer the problem. This is a problem where it's a huge collusion, where even the best CEO or best system is there, we cannot protect this. If the bank, my branch office in Paro and my head office people who are doing reconciliation, if they have joined hands, how can we do it? Because that's what had happened.
Top officials, including the Managing Director, Joint Managing Director, Engineers and Finance Officer of the Punathanchu 1 Hydropower Project Authority, was on tour for more than 200 days in 1 year. This was reflected in a joint audit report of the Royal Audit Authority and the Indian Audit for the period of 2012 to 13.
The joint report found out that the number of days the employees were on tour ranged from 50 days to as high as 336 days in one financial year. The cost incurred for the tours amounted to over 17 million neutrum. The report mentions there was no system of submitting tour reports after returning from tour to authenticate the specific duties carried out during the tour. The reasons for performing such long tours appeared unreasonable, as their stay and contribution in the duty station will be very important, the joint report states. According to the report, some officials had also planned their tours to coincide with their holiday trip to hometown. This was unduly benefiting the individual at the cost of the project. The project authority in the report states that tours to India were necessary for interaction with different departments of the Government of India to achieve the target of commissioning the project. The Royal Audit Authority had said that the PHPA management should work out the number of days needed for performing tours in 1 year. Nirup Gelson for BVS News.
According to a report released this month by the Jubilee Debt Campaign, a UK-based company involved in reducing indebtedness of countries, Bhutan has been categorized as a country with high risk of government debt crisis. The report, called The New Debt Trap, lists Bhutan among 14 other nations that are fast heading towards a debt crisis.
Several international newspapers, including The Guardian, quoted the report saying Greece was not a unique case and that several other nations were heading towards a debt crisis. The report, called The New Debt Trap, lists Bhutan among 14 other nations that are fast heading towards a debt crisis. A crisis could be triggered by large external debt, persistent current account deficit and high projected future debt payments, the report states. Although countries at risk of debt crisis are growing faster, they were not reducing poverty faster. While Mongolia and Bhutan are reducing poverty quickly, the amount of economic growth it takes to achieve this was not impressive, the report states. Between 2007 and 2012, Bhutan has reduced its poverty rate from 25% to 12.7%. Bhutan's total external debt today is more than the size of its economy. While GDP size stands at 104 billion neutrum, total external debt was recorded at 113 billion neutrum as of June this year. The government's new debt policy puts a ceiling on non-hydropower debt at 35% of GDP. National Assembly member Karma Tenzin, who is also a member of the Public Accounts Committee, said Bhutan would not enter a debt crisis since most of the government borrowings were concentrated on hydropower, which are self-liquidating. Nirup Gelson for BVS News.
Tirang police arrested a 29-year-old woman for forgery and impersonating a land survey officer on Wednesday. The woman has allegedly cheated a man from Tolinka Gyok of 47,000 nyutam by claiming that she's surveying Kidu land. She had called the man asking if he had applied for land Kidu. She had told him that another man from the same village had also applied for the land, and whoever of the two gives money first may get the land Kidu. She had also forged documents. The incident occurred in May this year. The case came to limelight after the victim had reported the case to the Gyok Administration Office after the accused refused to answer the phone calls. The Gyok Administration then reported the case to the police. With the completion of construction of a bridge over Mochu at Tonchuta, Laya has been reconnected with Gasa, its Dzongkhag headquarters. The gyeok was disconnected after Tonchuta Sam was washed away by Lemthanso outburst in Laya on 28th of June. The newly constructed bridge was handed over to the Dzongkhak on Saturday morning. It took 10 days to complete the bridge. Upon the royal command, a team of 23 army personnel were deployed on 1st of July to various locations in Laya to rebuild the bridges that were washed away by the outburst. A total of 6 wooden bridges were washed away. Kasa Zonda Doji Dradul said construction of 2 small bridges have been already completed by the villagers themselves. They will also be constructing the 3 remaining bridges with support from the Dzongkhak administration. The Ministry of Labour and Human Resources has fined Bhutan Broadcasting Service Corporation a sum of 11,250 Newton for violating the Recruitment and Selection Regulation 2012. According to the Labour Ministry, BBS had followed undue procedures while selecting its manager of Administration and Finance Department.
In May this year, BBS allegedly recruited the manager of Administration and Finance Department through voting by the 6 management committee members. The post was floated internally. After the result was announced, one of the unselected candidates wrote a letter of grievance to the management. However, the candidate said the management did not alter the decision and issued the appointee's office order 6 days after the result was declared. The candidate then appealed to the Labour Ministry for further intervention. The managing director of BBS said since the selection panel could not be formed for the recruitment, the 6 management committee members decided on the matter. He also said that the decision was not altered despite the candidate's letter of grievance, as the letter did not explain the unfair practices in detail. After a thorough study, the Labour Ministry concluded that the management of BBS had ignored terms of reference advertised for the recruitment of the manager. Also, the letter states that the selection of the manager, which was done through voting and not based on the candidate's ability and merit, was not in line with the Recruitment and Selection Regulation 2012. The Labour Ministry has asked BBS to re-advertise the post and conduct the selection as per the Recruitment and Selection Regulation 2012. The Managing Director of BBS said, since the letter is directed to the chairman, the management is waiting for the directives from him. As of now, the chairman has no comments over the issue. Sonam Chodan for BBS News.
School-going children will soon have the choice of wearing school shoes made in Bhutan. The first ever school shoes made in the country will hit the market next month. With funds from Business Opportunity and Information Center, an entrepreneur has ventured into shoemaking business.
With about 4 years of experience in shoemaking, 50-year-old Dodo started his shoe production house. He has undergone trainings in the art of shoemaking in India. As his first production, he is focusing on producing affordable and comfortable school shoes. And he is even planning to sell his shoes 50 to 100 Newton cheaper than the market rate.
다 주다디 당이기디 다투 총칼로 배워진 제가 가데베 좀마서 와진 데다 가지라베를.
In my opinion, how people sell the shoes in the market is that they say one is original and the other one is a fake. The shoes are normally expensive and not durable. So I am planning to sell better quality shoes at a cheaper price. I can assure this because I am the one making the shoes and I know what kind of materials to use and the kind of problems people face.
학원이 되기 대단해 바로 고한세 켜도도 잘라디 피세도 된도도지 다니 전이 노소도 아니 위해서 주니나.
Raw materials like leather and soles are directly purchased from factories in India. At present, 4 Indians are helping him to train 4 Bhutanese in shoemaking. These Bhutanese shoemakers would further train other locals. Dodo's first production of 200 pairs of shoes will hit the market next month. If the response from the customers is welcoming, Dodo is planning to increase his production. Sringda Magalson for BBS News.
Following the frequent breakdown of their mini hydropower station, people of Tansipji Gyok and Tonsa feel that it has become more of a burden than a privilege. The recent breakdown of the station has left 3 villages and offices in Gyok without electricity for over a month now.
This 70 kilowatt mini hydropower station in Chendepji was handed over to the people in the area about a decade ago by the Economic Affairs Ministry. It supplies power to Nyala, Tala and Chendepji villages in the Gyok. The villagers have been managing the station themselves with the tariff collected from the consumers. But now, with the station breaking down frequently, villagers say they are not able to meet its operation expenses anymore. Tansipji Gap Jigminamgil said the station has not benefited the villagers financially. In fact, people of these villages have to forego the 100 units of free electricity that other rural areas in the country enjoy.
It has been over a decade that the community has been managing this power station. But after using for so many years, public have now started to complain because the tariff that they collect among themselves isn't enough to manage the station. Moreover, there are more power blackouts as the station breaks down frequently. That is why we have discussed the issue even during Songak Tsokdo, and now we are discussing it with the Department of Energy. We are hopeful that the power station will be taken over by the Bhutan Power Corporation soon.
Chokpas from the 3 villages acknowledged the benefits from the mini hydropower station. But now, due to the frequent breakdown of the station, they said it would be better if Bhutan Power Corporation could take over the station or have the villages connected to the power grid.
We did experience such power blackouts in the past, and this has been a routine. This year, it has been over a month now, and if no alternatives come in, we will be left in the darkness.
If we hand over the power station to Bhutan Power Corporation, then even if it breaks down, they can immediately repair as they have more human resources. The power station has been benefiting us, but during such breakdowns, we don't have experts, so we are not able to do anything. We are left without electricity for several months.
Officials from the Bhutan Power Corporation said, as of now, they have no plans to connect these villages to the grid or take over the hydropower station. For Sujaman Thapa in Tongsa, Sonomongdi, PBS News.
Bookstore owners in Thimphu have put up an appeal letter to the Prime Minister Sering Tobgay to allow them to continue importing books by international companies from India without the 20% customs duty. Apart from the 5% sales tax, the bookstore owners are levied 20% customs duty on books which are not printed in India.
The appeal letter, signed by 11 bookstore owners in Thimphu, say the companies that publish the books are international companies that are not based in any one country. It says the distributors which the bookstore owners purchase from are the Indian branches of Penguin, Random House India and HarperCollins India. They say it is clear that their books are imported from India and not from third party.
Basically, we were paying 5% Bhutan sales tax while we bring the books from India. Now, what's happening, like I'll show you one book, like this book, Buddhist scripture in clay. It is a book printed in China, but we import from India. But our government, our revenue custom, they feel this book we are directly importing from China or Europe or America. So they are imposing us 25% import duty on these books.
He added that if the government fails to consider their plea, they will stop importing the books which are not printed in India. This, BP Bhattarai said, will undermine the quality of books, which is contradictory to the country's Reading Year initiative. The owners say the Department of Revenue and Customs started implementing the rule strictly only from April this year, even though the rule was put in place in 2007. Junction Bookstore's owner, Kunsangchoki Mui, said if the rule always existed, as the Department of Revenue and Customs say, why is it only being implemented now? The customs officials did not want to comment on the delay in the implementation of the rule. However, a response letter a bookstore owner received says the customs department will not be able to consider their request to waive off the 20% customs duty. The bookstore owners are yet to hear from the Prime Minister. Tamchsam for PBS News.
We have heard and seen plastics being recycled in so many different ways, but using it while blacktopping roads sounds unusual. Well, it's only unusual until the time it's put to use. And putting this concept into practice is what exactly a 30-year-old entrepreneur in Thimphu is up to.
Meet Rikesh Gurung, the man behind the Green Road project. With the concept adopted from an Indian scientist, he has set up his project in Jimina, Thimphu. He collects plastics from various sources like Memelhaga landfill site and Greenaway. He has 12 employees working for him. The plastics collected are then shredded in the factory and stored. It will be mixed with bitumen and used for blacktopping.
It's an on-site process. Basically, it's the same process with the conventional what? No new machineries or equipments are required.
Usually for blacktopping a kilometer of road, it requires 11 tons of bitumen, so Rikesh plans to replace 1 ton of the bitumen used with recycled plastics. He said recycled plastics can also be used in making ceilings for buildings and footpaths.
One of the main objective of Green Road is to segregate waste plastic from the source, so that once the waste plastic has been segregated, the solid waste can be used as manure or compost. Because plastic is a very nuisance, it creates a lot of problems to the environment. Our main intention is to segregate the plastic from the source, use it as a raw material, as a main ingredient in road construction, so that we can take care of the plastic as well as we can cost save on road construction.
However, Rikesh has not practically tried the technology in Bhutan. He has written to the Thimphu Thomde and the Department of Roads for a 50 to 100 meter road space for the purpose. He is yet to hear from them. The project was established with 8.5 million Nutum, of which 5.5 million was funded by the Business Opportunity and Information Center. Sringdama Galson for BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for you in this edition. Do join us again next week. Have a great weekend and you take care.